Hello all, and it's story time. Yes, story time. So once upon a time, there was a guy, a wrestler, and he was an awesome wrestler. He started off strong. He looked like a million. Well, okay. He had an aura about him. He looked like a badass. He was booked like a badass. Everyone thought he was just the nastiest, baddest dude on the planet. He went from promotion to promotion being the nastiest, baddest dude on the planet. And finally he went to the big stage. And he goes to the big stage after being on a semi-big stage. And everyone's excited. Everyone's like, oh, he's finally there. And then it doesn't go well. It goes bad. He never gets a world title shot or a title run. He never really gets a real run. He never gets a real good shake of things. There's politics involved. There's stuff about how he looks and this and that. And basically this guy that was one of the most awesome guys in pro wrestling when he went in, comes out and was basically nothing more than a jobber when he left this company. And then Vader went to Japan. And Vader became Vader again. And it was awesome. He went to Noah, and it was, I believe it was Noah. I think it was after the split. And it was awesome. He took on Mascara. He took on Kobashi. It was fucking awesome. So, Samoa Joe, finally, is leaving TNA. Said, I'm done. I'm gone. I'm leaving. Apparently his contract was up. They were negotiating. They weren't offering him enough money, apparently. And so he's going. And it's possible, depending on how healthy he is, that he's going to take the AJ route of, I'm going to wrestle everywhere, everyone's going to pay me money, and I'm going to make money. Though he has said that, or it's been reported that he said, that he's actually, since saying he was leaving TNA, he's pretty surprised. He was surprised with all the different people who contacted him to come work for them. Does that mean WWE contacted him? I don't know. I can't see WWE offering him enough, because they're going to make him go to NXT, unless he's the highest paid guy in NXT. I can't really see them putting him in NXT and having that work. Maybe they do. I don't know. Much more likely he's going to Ring of Honor. Maybe he even goes to Lucha Underground. I definitely think there's a good possibility he goes to New Japan. I mean, AJ's there. You got to think AJ would put in some sort of word for him. And I hadn't done a review video. I was actually planning on doing a review video, and I just got busy. And of the second New Beginning show, and it was very evident that, as much as people don't want to hear this, the Bullet Club needs a real number 2 guy. Anderson is definitely the number 2 guy, but they need a better number 2 guy. And Joe is that. Joe is the guy that could go after the Intercontinental title, and it's not freaking Bad Luck Fale and horrible. So there's a spot for him. He could even go, New Japan's now, helping out, or I guess kind of running Noah now. You've got Suzuki Gun there. Maybe they do an angle where Morofuji brings in Joe to help fend off Suzuki Gun, and we get Suzuki versus Joe matches. I'd like that. I think everybody would like that somewhere deep inside. I think everyone would like that a lot. I mean, yeah, Joe versus Ishii? Yeah, but Joe versus Suzuki? I'll take that too. But we don't know. But you have a lot of people saying, he's done, all of this stuff. I don't know. I think the guy seemed to always take pride when he was, into what he was doing. It's hard to be in what you were doing when you were in TNA, into what he did. And I think that if he can still go, I think you put him in there with guys like Ishii and Nakamura and Tanahashi and Okada and, all those guys in New Japan. And some of the guys in Noah as well. You're going to get amazing stuff. And I think if he's healthy, and that's the big thing, I think, you know, maybe we see the old Joe for another 1 or 2 years, and we're like, this is what we missed. This is what we wanted. This is what we cared for. And it was amazing because I heard people, you know, in a couple different places talking about the fact that, you know, you've got fans that really don't understand what some of us, you know, like anyone that's followed this channel for any length of time knows how big of a fan of Joe's I am. If there's, you know, when I could actually watch TNA, if I wanted to watch TNA, the only reason I would maybe flick on the channel was just to see, okay, what exactly are they doing with Joe? If I listened to spoilers, if I read taping results, whatever it was almost it was entirely to just see what they were doing with Joe, or if there was something with Joe that they were going to do that I might like. So, and TNA's, you know, they've been dead to me. Now they don't even care anymore about anything, about spoilers, about nothing. But yeah, it's very sad because, you know, TNA had a chance. They did. They had a legitimate chance. And if they would have, and I've talked about this before, but it's the God honest truth, I truly feel this is the case. If they would have pushed Monty Brown when they could have pushed Monty Brown, and then you bring in Joe, and now you're leading up to Joe versus Monty, and you've got both of them, they're two badass mofos, and they're going to be bound for glory, and then magically, boop, into your lap falls Kurt Angle. Then you got 3 dudes who can main event. You got 2 of them, which are amazing wrestlers. You got 1 guy who can be carried and has, you know, this you know, amazing charisma and that people get behind, and you just have this kind of, you have these 3 dudes who can go and have, you know, I would imagine even, you know, Monty Brown wasn't the greatest wrestler in the world. I would imagine with all that you could put those 3 guys all in the ring together and it would be fairly awesome, and didn't get it. And of course we got, you know, they brought in Angle, and then as soon as they brought in Angle, they had, you know, Joe losing to Angle like that instead of the other way around, which it always should have been the other way around. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. You know, I would imagine he's probably going to go to Ring of Honor. I've seen a lot of people actually question that the next time Ring of Honor's in Nashville, if they're actually going to do Joe versus Styles versus Daniels. That's kind of a fuck you to TNA, which I can see. I can see that. They should just call it the FU TNA match, really. But could see that. But this will be interesting. I guess as soon as, you know, Joe can actually start being places, I guess we'll find out exactly what the deal is. I guess we'll see. But yeah. You know, if you watched the second New Beginning show, you know, it's very evident that they could use a guy like Joe. You know, and I've heard people say, you know, oh, you know, New Japan's pretty full, and you can make room for a guy like him, particularly at the upper tier. No question in my mind. Yeah, no. But yeah, but he's free. He's free. He's free. But yeah, so New Beginnings. New Beginnings was pretty freaking awesome. You had, amazingly, Rob Conway and Tenzan had a pretty freaking good match. You also had, what else? Yeah, there was on there. Oh, yeah, Ishii versus Hanma, which I'm sure all of you have heard about. And yes, it's that great. It is awesome. I loved it. If you follow me on Twitter and you happen to be around when I watched the match, you saw how freaking amazing I thought that match was. The main event was very good. It just wasn't as great as a lot of New Japan main events were. But the match before it was so amazing that I wouldn't really, you know, I don't think that hurts it much. It did set up a lot of, you know, some things. We're gonna get, you know, Tenzan won the NWA Championship. A lot of people wondered why Kojima was gonna take on. Figured Kojima was going to take on Ishii for the Never title because Makabe was sick. Instead, they put, of course, Hanma in there, and that was amazing, of course. But I think, and I haven't read this, but I just off the top of my head when I saw what they announced, Kojima and Tenzan are going to wrestle for the NWA Championship. I would imagine that they do that ahead of time. And so what they wanted to do is they didn't want Kojima to lose a match going for the Never Championship and then take on Tenzan for the New Japan or the NWA Championship. So I would suspect that's kind of the reason. You know, it was kind of wacky booking. You're putting Hanma, who never wins, against Ishii for a championship. That was kind of But match was amazing though, so I don't really care. But yeah. So those would be the matches that I would recommend seeing. They did also set up Mascara taking on Kenny Omega. Hopefully Kenny Omega gets this DDT shit out of his system because I'm getting sick of it. It's not even like he's like overdoing it. It'd be okay if he was okay. It's kind of different because it's something different on the card. But holy good God, no. Please stop. Please. I'm just asking. Please stop. Anything else I wanted to talk about? I think that's it. I think that's all. Haven't really watched any WWE for, except for NXT, which was of course awesome. But that's pretty much it. I think that's all. Yeah. Just mainly wanted to talk about Joe, a little bit about New Japan. So there we go. We got the New Japan Cup is I think it starts up this coming week, I think. Which looks interesting. And of course the winner of that should probably take on AJ at some point. Yeah, so there we go. So I guess we'll find out. But yeah, that's all I really want to talk about, I guess. Not a lot. Not really. Not really at all. Let's see. Is there anything else? Is there any? I feel like I'm missing something that happened on New Beginnings, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Maybe let's look here. Let's look here. Let's look at New Beginnings. So we had let's see. Yeah, we had Kojima and Komatsu taking on Nakanishi and Captain New Japan. That was no. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly taking on Tiger Mask and Jay White. Jay White actually did really well in that match, so yeah, that was kind of cool to see. Mascara, Dorada, Alex Shelley, Kushida taking on the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. This was pretty good, but again, the Kenny Omega stuff got kind of old kind of fast. Liger versus Chase Owens was okay. Conway versus Tenzan was actually, like I said, was pretty damn good. Maybe because I just wasn't expecting a lot out of it, but yeah, it was, yeah, you should actually go out, probably out and see it. And Ibushi and Naito taking on Sakuraba and Yano. This was better than it should have been, but it still wasn't all that fun. Sakuraba and Ibushi looked like they might face each other, and they looked like they might actually have kind of a good match, so there was that. Okada and Yoshi-Hashi taking on Bad Luck Fale and Yujiro. This was okay. And Tanahashi and Shibata and Goto taking on Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, and Tommy Tonga. This was good, but nothing, nothing to go crazy about. Ishii versus Hanma, fucking amazing. And yeah, the main event of Nakamura versus Nagata, not as good as I thought it was going to be, but still pretty good. The little video package they get of Nagata at the beginning of the show was before the match, showing his wife and his kid and all this stuff, and making it look like this may be it for him. That was pretty good. But anyways, I think that's it. So yes, so we now get to follow around and find out where Joe's gonna go, and I hope he goes to New Japan. Yeah, but no, it wouldn't be bad either.